Well, good afternoon. On the panel I participated, we discussed the issue on the rights of the rural communities and the role that the land restitution unit could play, providing to the reconstruction of the life projects and all the rights of these rural communities. The main aspects we wanted to highlight on the presentation I made was to point out the limitations the land restitution policy by itself has, meaning that achieving this purpose in a more wider manner, the extent of which the Colombian state and the current government have enough political willingness to articulate the land restitution policy to policies a bit more comprehensive, broader, in this case in particular. And within this rural development policy, one of its fundamental instruments, like the agrarian reform programs, completely relegated to the minimum expression, because it is understood that the land restitution policy is not a redistributive policy, neither solves the cumulative problems of concentration of land in Colombia, which everybody recognizing has been the origin or a substantial part of the origin in this conflict. In the same way, I positively highlighted that it is necessary to think and develop the articulation and harmonies required between the policies of land restitution, rural development, the agrarian development, mines and energy, and the public policy of biodiversity that is in this country. In this aspect, we especially pointed out that these issues about the public policies have to be approached in relation with the character of the state, the political regime, and the development model. And it is reflection, the nucleus surrounding the public policies plays an important role. Is the way in how the state intervenes in the society to guide and develop the aspects of that economic development model. The same model that the government, from the beginning of the Havana dialogues, has said is not willing to discuss. It must be discussed. And we point out how the agrarian strike from 2013, the repetition and re-edition around 4 days ago, with the rural, ethnic, and popular national Minga, devotes the sets of claims that the agrarian social movement has done historically in this country. Those claims are not contained, even represented enough on the Accords, Item 1 of the Comprehensive Rural Reform, and that the state has to take into consideration and has to open the gates to debate about these issues because we were seeing two different trajectories. One, the trajectory based on the political decisions the government makes, which are different and contradicts with the spirit of the Accords in the Havana, and contradicts with the claims of the social movement. The best example which can illustrate this affirmation more clearly is the ZIR law, Rural Development Zones of Economic and Social Interest. This goes against all the claims from the peasants, and it probably becomes a threat which can reproduce no despoilment phenomena, now through what we call development projects. However, I would like to highlight that, in my opinion, it has been a very positive and productive event, and I think that the international experiences shared with the participants, their main conclusions, and are very meaningful, and I think that the land restitution unit is left with very good contributions, some messages, and some very important recommendations, which we have to collect as soon as possible.
Creo que las experiencias internacionales que compartieron con los asistentes, sus principales conclusiones son muy significativas y creo que a la unidad de restitución de tierras le quedan unos aportes, unos mensajes y unas recomendaciones muy importantes que debe recoger a la mayor brevedad posible.